Hello and welcome back to James Bond Radio for our second listener interview of the day. My name's Tom Sears and I'm joined by my good buddy Chris Wright. Say hello, Chris.
Hello, Chris.
Good start. So we are joined today by JBR listener Mr. Brian Dobson. Now he came along to join us at the lunchtime meetup at Scarlett's in Covent Garden pre-Spectre. He also we saw him, caught up with him at the casino as well, I believe, after the Leicester Square showing. So he's dedicated. I like it. I like people that show up to things, Chris.
Yeah, and he was helping us knock back a Vesper or two in the casino, indeed, which was good, and he lasted a long while as well. So, and I think he had work the next day. So, that is dedication to the cause. Isn't it?
Big time, especially for a late night like that, for sure.
Yeah. But, nice one, Brian.
So then, without further ado, let's have a chat to Brian. Okay, we'd just like to welcome to James Bond Radio, Mr. Brian Dobson. Welcome to the show, fella.
Thank you very much indeed.
Good stuff. Where are you calling from today?
I'm from Gosport in Hampshire.
Ah, very nice. Just across the water from me.
That's the one, yeah.
Lovely. How are you doing, Brian? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much. Really good.
Good stuff. So we're going to kick straight off, and we're going to do the old 007 quickfire questions, Brian. So,
okay.
Are you ready?
I am indeed.
Good stuff. So, Mr. Dobson, question number one: what is your favourite Bond film?
My favourite Bond film. I always find this such a difficult question to answer because there's been so many throughout the years. But I'm going to plump with Casino Royale.
Oh, that's a bloody good one.
Definitely.
I think they got pretty much everything right with that one.
Good stuff.
Damn solid answer. Definitely. Is there anything about that film in particular which you like more than
the chemistry with Daniel Craig and Eva Green is spot on. I think it was well thought out in terms of the sort of gap they had between the preceding film, and I think it just everything came together well.
Very nice. Good stuff.
Excellent. So, question two then, Brian. What would you say is your favourite James Bond book?
My favourite James Bond book is From Russia with Love.
Ah, you like JFK?
I do.
And what is it? Why is that then? Why do you like From Russia so much, the novel?
I'm a big fan of the film itself. It would probably be certainly second or third on my list. But I think just that kind of Cold War tension. I particularly like the end of the novel. I think that works well. And just there's a lot of intrigue and a lot of particularly sort of Bondian moments. It's a spy story, and I think that the actual true Bond is spying, and I think when that comes together, it works well.
Very nice, good stuff. Now, we'll allow you possibly two sides to this answer, Brian, which is the question of who is your favourite Bond girl?
My favourite Bond girl is without a doubt Eva Green.
Ah, okay. Interesting. So what is it about Eva that floats your boat?
Oh, it's many things. I could be chatting for many minutes on it, but I think she lights up the screen. I think she's got a great chemistry with Daniel Craig. I think her character is spot on, well defined, well developed, and she looks amazing. So to get my vote.
Very nice.
Excellent. And so normally sometimes people will say one for whoever they find the most attractive, who they want to take home for a bit of rumpy pumpy, and then one who, in terms of the character, who's their favourite. But would you say for you that Vesper and Eva Green covers both of those?
Yes, yeah. I do. Yeah, very much so.
Excellent stuff. So who would you say then, Brian, is your favourite James Bond villain?
My favourite James Bond villain? That's harder, certainly. I'm going to go with the sort of Blofeld, as in the On Her Majesty's Secret Service version.
Okay. So what is it about Telly then that stands above the other Blofelds?
Yeah, because I like the fact that he actually gets his sleeves rolled up and gets on with it. He's not afraid to sort of give Bond a bit of arm-to-arm combat. I just think again that works. That really works for me.
Very nice, good stuff.
Excellent.
And then the ultimate question is: who is your favourite James Bond actor?
My favourite James Bond actor is Timothy Dalton.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about that then. What is it about Timmy you like?
Well, Timothy Dalton is Ian Fleming's James Bond, in my opinion. I think he nails the character. I think obviously he went very much back to the original books, and that's really what sort of caught my attention sort of back in the day. And I think he pretty much nailed the character.
Good stuff.
Excellent stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of love for Timmy, which is great. Now, I don't know if this would have a bearing on the next question, but what would you say is your favourite scene in the whole series?
Oh, so difficult. So difficult. But I'm going to clump with the original entry of Sean Connery as Bond in Dr. No.
Wow.
Very
That
nice.
is a classic. Absolute classic.
That is a tough one to top, that, man. He gets the delivery of that line and just the way he's sitting, the cigarette, the casino. I think that is difficult to top.
Yeah, I would say so.
Very nice. So what would you say then is your earliest memory of Bond, Brian?
My earliest memory of Bond, I think, was back. I'm a bit of a child of the 70s, and I think in the UK, ITV started to screen many of the Bond films around about the mid-70s. I think I caught what I think was probably Goldfinger, and it sort of blew me away, really. And I think that was my first kind of entry to it. It was certainly mid-70s and certainly on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent stuff. And do you remember how you felt after watching it? Is it like nothing you'd seen before, or did it take a few viewings and a few other Bond films to sort of get you hooked and everything?
That's a very good question, Chris. And what I would say to that is directly after that, I was certainly taken aback with it, and my father decided to take me to the local screening of a new film that had come out called The Spy Who Loved Me. And he took me to see that, and I was 7 or 8, somewhere around about that. And it absolutely blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. It was certainly the most iconic sort of visit I'd had to the cinema up to that point, and probably still is to this day, because I came out of that cinema and I thought, you know, I want to know more about this guy and the other preceding films, and the love for it grew from there, I would suggest.
Very nice.
Excellent stuff. Lovely.
So Sean set up the nail and Roger hammered it home for you.
He certainly did. I mean, I was a little bit perplexed when I was in the cinema, because I was expecting to see Sean. I didn't realise there was another actor who actually took on the role. I've seen it through the eyes of a 7 or 8 year old. But yeah, completely blew me away. And then sort of Roger became very much my Bond growing up, if you like.
Very nice.
I bet seeing that the ski off the cliff with a parachute must have been pretty impressionable when you first watched that in the cinema.
Oh, massively so. Massively so. I think that, and of course the Lotus.
Yeah.
Seeing that as a young kid was quite impressive.
Very
excellent.
Nice.
So I don't know if you've ever had the chance, Brian, but have you visited any Bond locations? And if so, what is your favourite? And are there any Bond locations you haven't visited that you'd like to?
Well, the number one location that I really want to visit is Pete's Glory, of course. Mm-hmm. And I haven't got round to that one, but I really, really want to put that one on my list. But I've fortunately been to a few other locations, but the one that really stands out for me was Nassau.
Wow.
Very nice.
Lovely. And what did you get up to when you were in Nassau? Did you visit various spots from Thunderball Casino and various films, or? I
did indeed. Well, I had a sort of a bit of a rare moment where I actually got the chance to work out there for a short space of time. Wow. And there's a particular scene in Casino Royale where Daniel is driving the Ford Mondeo along a sort of series of houses in the background, and I actually just lived on that very spot.
No way.
And that was quite a moment when I looked back at the film to see that, and then I managed to do a bit of scuba diving when I was out there. So it was.
Wow. Yeah, I must say. So you were out there. Were you working on a secret assignment? You know, scuba diving in the Bahamas. Was that part of it?
Well, it wasn't that secret, no. But I was out there for just under a year, I think, and it was certainly very memorable.
So, is it the sort of work that you can't tell anyone about? Are you sworn to secrecy, or is it something?
No, not at all, not at all. I work in the jewelry and watch trade by business, and I was working for a jewelry chain that has various outlets on some of the Caribbean islands, and I was posted to Nassau.
That sounds like a likely cover story to me, don't you, Chris?
Yeah, I think it must be. Yeah, definitely. Cover story. Heard that one before.
Traveling jeweler, salesman, or whatever. That's whatever. Anyway, so it's time to talk Spectre, Brian. Are you excited?
I am indeed.
Good stuff. So first things first then, are you a Spectre lover, a hater, or somewhere in between?
I'm a Spectre lover. I thought it was terrific.
Yes, good stuff. So what was your kind of your initial impression then when you first saw the film? What was going through your mind?
Well, I was kind of wondering where they were going to finish from Skyfall and how it was going to fit in, and I was certainly very excited. And then once the gun barrel came on, I was absolutely over the moon with that. And then when the pre-credits began, I just thought it was, one of the up there with certainly one of the best, if not the best.
Oh, excellent!
Very
and
nice.
How many times have you seen it since the first viewing?
I've seen it 4 times.
And has it got better, or at least stayed as good each time that you've seen it?
No, for me, it's got better. Personally, I know Skyfall has done huge business and is the most successful so far in the series, but for me, I prefer Spectre because Spectre gives me a little bit of what I want from Bond.
Definitely. And so whereabouts was your first viewing, and was there a good atmosphere when you saw it?
The unrivaled atmosphere, I would say. It was in Leicester Square.
Lovely. And there were lots of fellow Bond fans with you?
Yes, one or two you may know, yourself included.
Very nice, cool stuff. So what would you say then, if you broke the film down, what was your favourite part of the film?
Well, certainly the pre-credits. I thought the Day of the Dead scene and the whole of the feeding in Mexico was absolutely first class. I thought Mr. Hinks was very good, although I agree with you on the earlier point of being in an extra scene, I think, to really cement it. I thought Christoph Waltz was excellent. 1 or 2 quibbles I've got towards the end of the film, but I thought Monica Bellucci was terrific. She should have been in it a lot more. I think we all have liked to have seen a bit more of her.
Absolutely.
Hey,
in
definitely.
more ways than one.
In more ways than one, yes. And I just think a few people online have said it's a bit of a greatest hits package, but to be honest, that's what you want from Bond, isn't it?
Yeah. Tom and I have been talking about some of these critiques that have come through, and some of them have sort of said that it's too much of a Bond film, and to have that as a critical, exactly. What are your thoughts on that then?
Well, how can you get too much of a Bond film? I don't understand that one.
It's very, very odd. You did mention there, there were 1 or 2 things you weren't sure about towards the end of the film, which does seem to ring with quite a few people. So if you had the chance to sort of change, if anything in particular, what sort of thing would you like to have seen done differently, perhaps?
Well, I think the reveal of Blofeld could have been done better and a bit more dramatic. And I think, you touched on it in an earlier podcast about possibly if they'd referred to him as Blofeld and the connection with Oberhauser had been revealed in the film, I think that might have worked stronger. The very last scene with the DB5 didn't really do it for me. I just think that was kind of just shoehorning it in for the sake of it. And to be honest, that's probably about it. I just think those moments could have been dealt with a little bit stronger, I think.
What do you think about that ending? Because I've seen a few people say that the DB5 thing was just like it's perhaps been overused over the recent couple of movies. So what would you have done differently about that ending then? How would you have changed that?
Well, I just, to be honest, what I would have liked to have seen was the final showdown with the henchman, of course, Mr. Hinks. And obviously we've had that in many other Bond films, but I think if he'd actually come back for another scene when we weren't expecting it, I think that would have worked stronger.
Yeah.
That was, I think, a fair few of us thought the scene where They're obviously on their way to the CNS building, and the car rams them and all that kind of stuff, and they put the hood over Bond's head. I, for some reason, naturally thought that was Hinks coming back at that point.
Yes, absolutely.
And I feel like, for me, I feel unless there's some idea they're going with already for Bond 25 where Blofeld has to be in captivity at the start of the film, I definitely feel like Blofeld should have escaped at the end, and maybe Hinks should have come back at that point, and or at least around that area, and they should have had their showdown in MI6 maybe instead of with Blofeld. Blofeld gets away, or or at least Blofeld and Hinks are together in MI6. Blofeld gets away. Hinks is the main kind of opponent during that part, and ended it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly really how I feel about it. Because up until that point, I thought this is terrific, up there with the best of them, and then when the end came, I thought that was a little bit rushed. That could have been tidied up a bit more.
I think with the ending, a lot of it is going to depend on how the start of the next film sort of plays out, doesn't it? Because there are various things they could have done, like you said, like have Blofeld get away, which would have been awesome. I think if Hinks had come back at the end, it would have been the main battle, and maybe he would have survived. Maybe Bond would have more than likely have killed him. But I think they're saving him. I think it seems to me like when I was watching it, they were saving certain things for the next film, and I think Hinks is one. Obviously, Blofeld will probably be part of it, of Bond 25 as well. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how we look back at the end of Spectre once we've seen Bond 25 to see if our feelings sort of change or whatever. But I guess that's 2 years away, so or maybe even 3 years away, but who knows.
I suppose the interesting thing about the end of that is you could say that if Blofeld did get away, because Mendes has said that he definitely wanted to give the impression that Bond was quitting the service at the end of the film. But he wanted to leave it open enough that you could interpret it either way.
Right.
And I feel like if Blofeld had gotten away, you wouldn't have been able to have that scene. It wouldn't have made sense for Bond to quit the service if Blofeld had got away, I guess. So I guess that's why he was at least taken into custody at the end there.
Yeah. So, Brian, where would Spectre stand for you in comparison to, particularly in Skyfall, but also with the other Craigs? How would Spectre stand with those films?
It's coming in at number 2 for me, behind Casino.
Very nice. Casino. And how do the rest of them play out?
Skyfall will be 3rd, and I'm no fan of Quantum, I'm afraid to say.
No worries. So in terms of, because obviously the pressure's on because of all the critics were like, Skyfall is this masterpiece and it had all those amazing reviews and stuff. And then in a sense, I feel like Spectre was kind of shot in the foot before it even started, because amongst the critics anyway, it's like they're expecting it to be this thing, this follow-on to Skyfall that it, in their mind, has got to live up to it. So how do you... I've got this theory, basically, of that I think the people who really loved Skyfall aren't so much bigger fans of Spectre.
Yeah.
And the people who didn't like Skyfall as much love Spectre. And I'm definitely in that second camp. So what do you think?
Absolutely. I'm completely with you in that one. I've asked a few people, friends and acquaintances, of what did you think of the film? And they've always said it's good, but not as good as Skyfall. And I just completely disagree with that. Skyfall just didn't quite do it for me.
It's similar to us, really, isn't it, in that sort of respect? But it'd also be interesting to compare Spectre, a few months or even a year or two down the line, once you sort of seen it and come back with fresh eyes after seeing everything else. So that would be that'd be an interesting thing. So looking on to Bond 25 then, Brian, what are your predictions of what might happen, and what would you like to see happen?
Well, there's no point in sort of creating Blofeld for them not to use him again. So I would think Blofeld has got to return. I really think Mr. Hinks should return in some form or another. But I always say it's a very difficult one, because I think Eon faced a difficult decision really of where to go after this, because I think they want to keep the likes of us, the hardcore Bond fans, happy, and they also want to keep the general public happy. And I think it's a very difficult job to get that right. Because, in whichever way it works, I'd just like to see classic Bond again.
Yeah. So you want to see like, so would you want to see Spectre, the sort of tone of Spectre continue? Would you want it to be perhaps even more of that, a bit lighter, even with some more gadgets and stuff and more humor? Would you like it to take a slightly darker turn, maybe? How about the tone of Bond 25? What do you want to see?
Yeah, one criticism I have read of Spectre is tonally, it's kind of all over the place.
Right.
But I think that was very much a deliberate feeling to do that. But personally, I think it should be lighter, not too light, but I think it's the reason Casino works so well for me is I think they got the balance spot on with that one. And I think with others, they've either gone down too much of a darker road or they've made it too light. But personally, yes, I'd like it in a similar vein to Spectre.
And what do you think will happen with Madeleine Swan? Do you think we'll see her again? And if so, in what sort of respect?
Do you know, I actually don't think we'll see her again. I just have a feeling, or they might reference it at the beginning of the next one, but I actually don't think she'll play a major role.
Okay, great.
Exciting stuff. So where does Spectre sit for you, Brian, in the whole series of Bond? Would you say it's a top 5, a top 10, somewhere in the middle, or down the bottom?
I would say it's a top 5, probably at 5.
Ooh, all right.
Wow.
So let's hear the 4 that come above the Spectre then.
Well, in obviously going in reverse order, I'd say 5 with Spectre. I would say 4 would be The Living Daylights.
Nice.
3 would be From Russia with Love.
Classic.
2 would be On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And 1 would be
Excellent.
Casino Royale.
That's a bagging top 5 list right there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that is.
I mean,
great.
sometimes that order changes a bit for me. Sometimes the top 3 move around a little bit, but
Yeah.
certainly those 3 were my top 3.
Good stuff. Coolio. So thanks for coming on the show today, then, Brian. It's been fun having a chat.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for inviting me.
No worries, and it was good to actually meet you at the JBR meetup as well, because obviously your Facebook symbol is the dog from Family Guy, so it was good to
Yeah.
finally put a face to the name.
I hadn't realised that had become quite as iconic as it has.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's been a pleasure having you on, though, Brian. Excellent
Thanks
stuff.
very much indeed. I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
Cool. Cheers then. Bye
worries.
bye.
Bye for now.
See ya.
So there we go. It was good to hear from Brian, wasn't it?
It was indeed, absolutely. We obviously met him on the day of Spectre's release, so it was good to meet him and good to catch up again afterwards. Absolutely.
And hear all his thoughts as well. Another Spectre lover. We seem to be getting quite a few on the interviews, which is good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I saw some sort of survey online of whether it was a yay or nay. I think it might have been the MI6 website that did it, of people who liked it versus not, and I think it was roughly 80% of people gave it the thumbs up versus 20.
Okay. That's not bad.
So it's not bad at all, really. So there you go.
So-
Cool. Okay, then. So thank you for tuning in on today's editions of 30 Days of Spectre. We're going to be back tomorrow with another 2 listener interviews. So be sure to tune in then, because it's going to be a lot of fun. Until then, I've been Tom Sears.
I've been Chris Wright.
And we'll be back in the morning.
So we'll see you then.
Bye.
Goodbye.